Adam Loveridge here with local SEO Pros, and today I am here with Kel Kelsch of North Star Heating and Air Conditioning. And Kel is part of a family-owned operation here in West Jordan, Utah, serving the entire Salt Lake Valley. And I think you've been in business now for what?
15 years.
15 years. Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. Well, thanks so much for joining me here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Now, as we're sitting here talking, obviously, from my marketing headquarters here, anyway, it's snowing outside.
Right.
Okay. It's been getting it's getting cold here in Utah, to say the least. And one of the, obviously, you go to fire up the furnace, it's not working, or maybe there's issues with airflow, different things along those lines. But I think most homeowners are at a point right now where they're trying to figure out, okay, what should I do to make sure that I'm not going to be freezing in my house all winter, and that my furnace is going to be running kind of tip top. And that's really, I think, what we want to talk about today. So, and I guess in your view, Kel, what are probably, maybe start from the beginning on this, in terms of just making sure that your furnace is going to run all year long and not have any problems, or all winter long anyway. I mean, what are your recommendations in terms of what people really should be doing to maintain a furnace?
The first thing I would do with the furnace is definitely check the filters. The filter is something that should be changed year round. You need to change that every month. Most people don't do that, and that's where you start to lose that efficiency. When that filter starts to get plugged up, other things start to work harder, parts start to break down. Okay, excellent. And so aside from that, assuming I change my filter on a regular basis, obviously things can still happen. My furnace can still get dirty, that sort of thing. What are some of the more common maintenance things that maybe I as a homeowner should be doing, or maybe hiring somebody like yourself to be handling on an ongoing basis, aside from just changing the filter, of course? Yeah, the filters basically the first thing I'd recommend a homeowner do. The second thing would be to get your annual tune-ups on your equipment. The reason why is most the things that you can do to tune that furnace up, you need to have a specialist do. There's things like your flame sensor. That's a frequent call I get, and it's a pretty easy fix. It's just hard to have a homeowner go in and do that and clean that up. But those tune-ups take care of that problem for you. Okay. And that's always been kind of a question of mine then, as well, as what is involved in a furnace tune-up? I mean, what's a typical furnace tune-up look like? The way we do our tune-ups, and every company does them differently. What we do is we start at the top of the furnace and work our way down. We make sure we check all the amp draws on your inducer motors, blowers, check your circuit boards, home out the igniters, clean your flame sensors, clean your gas burners, make sure the gas pressure's proper. One of the most important things I think that we do is we check for your airflow. If your filter's not being changed, more than likely you've got a dirty blower wheel. And if you got a dirty blower wheel, more than likely you've got a dirty coil, and that's what's robbing you of your efficiency on your furnace. Okay, excellent. And so really, then it sounds like what you're saying is that if you're tuning that up on a regular basis, then it's going to help help keep that from being more of a major repair than if you do have to come in and, say, replace a blower motor or different things along those lines. Absolutely. If you can catch a coil as it's starting to get dirty, then when it is actually completely plugged up, I mean, you've lost all that efficiency for that season that you've ran it completely plugged up, and it also affects you in the summertime when you're running your air conditioner as well. Well, I'm sure it affects you in your pocketbook too, in terms of the gas bill, electric bill, that sort of thing. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Excellent. And so if I haven't taken really good care of that, and actually even before I ask that, what do you recommend in terms of, I mean, how frequently, realistically, should I be scheduling a tune-up for my furnace? I would recommend a tune-up on your furnace and air conditioner every year. Okay. It doesn't matter how old the furnace is, how new the furnace is. I would get it done every year. The best time to do it is in the off seasons, the spring and the fall. Right before the season starts. Right. Yeah. So if you wait until the furnace just doesn't start, then it's an emergency call. Yes. and you're subject to whatever your schedule is based on everybody else that's put it off to the last. That's right. And a lot of times, when you're in the middle of the winter time or the middle of the summer, you may be pushed back a week. And to not have that air conditioning or heating for a week, that's a lot of strain on someone.
Okay, excellent. And I guess the last question then is, if you don't properly maintain the furnace, that sort of thing. I mean, what are some of the repairs that typically you'll see, or some of other concerns maybe that homeowners can have that can crop up with a furnace if you're not handling it, or maintaining it on a regular basis?
Well, one thing that the most common repairs that I run into, luckily, are some of the cheapest repairs. Igniters that crack, things like that. Usually you won't get an igniter to last you the life of that furnace. You're going to be replacing it at some point. Although they're not the most expensive part to go out in the furnace.
Sure.
So that's one nice thing. I see a lot of igniters. Dirty flame sensors, that's probably the #1 thing, other than the filter. Okay.
Now, I know that in the news and different things, there's been a lot of talk about, or you'll see this story here every now and again. Family dies from not.
Yeah, when the furnace dead.
Yeah, I mean the furnace can actually be a deadly killer, right?
Absolutely.
In your home.
Absolutely.
And what causes that, first of all, and how can a homeowner prevent, say, a carbon monoxide poisoning in their home and some of these other things that can happen with a furnace?
Well, the furnace, the way the furnace is, there's a heat exchanger in that furnace. And it's a metal heat exchanger. And what happens is when that metal heats up, that metal starts to expand, cools down, contracts back down. It's almost like taking a paper clip or a pop can and bending it a bunch of times. Before long, that metal's going to crack. So all those weak spots, and every furnace brand has a different spot in it. Once you get to know those spots, you can find out what those leaks are, what those cracks are. But the thing is with those cracks is it could crack, and you could have a crack in there for 2-3 years and not even know it. And you could be getting sick from that. It's just not to the point where it's going to be deadly.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would always recommend. That's one of the reasons why I recommend an annual tune-up on furnaces. You want somebody to check that heat exchanger.
Okay, excellent. And if somebody were in West Jordan, Salt Lake Valley, and they're looking to get their furnace tuned up, obviously we're getting cold yet, but I know that you guys are actually doing some kind of special things in terms of pricing and other stuff for furnace tune-ups right now. Tell us a little bit about that, if you would.
Our furnace tune-ups are running we have a special going on for $25 right now. We're trying to get as many people signed up as we can. We want to offer this because I want our customers to see the work we do and then continue working with us.
Sure.
I think they'll be happy with it.
Well, obviously this is part of your home's mechanical system, and it's not, something that's going to be maintained for years and years.
Most expensive appliance in the home.
Okay, excellent. And if somebody were interested in that, then how can they get in touch with you?
You can see us on our website, North Star Heating and Air, Utah, and you can call me at 801-285-9022.
Excellent. Well, Kel, thanks so much for joining me here. Once again, folks, this is Kel from North Star Heating and Air, West Jordan's, one of the top HVAC contractors anyway. And thanks so much for, sharing with your knowledge and stuff here today.
Excellent.
Anyway.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.